And finally tonight, the wartime death of his father inspired Pink Floyd's Roger Waters to write some of his most powerful music. It featured in the film and the album The Wall, describing his anger at the British High Command for taking his dad from him at the age of just 5 months. But he never knew exactly how his father died, until now. Paul Davis explains how that mystery was finally solved.
7,000 Allied troops lost their lives in the Battle of Anzio as British, American and Canadian forces tried to push the German army out of Italy. Among those who died was Royal Fusiliers Lieutenant Eric Waters, whose youngest son Roger, on his mother's knee here, was just 5 months old at the time. Roger Waters would grow up to become a musician. World famous as a member of Pink Floyd. The death of his father left its mark and even featured in his music over the years.
And that's how the High Command took my daddy from me.
My father is commemorated in this.
Waters visited Anzio earlier this year, telling Italian television he needed to find out what happened to his father, whose body was never recovered. Harry Schindler, who fought at Anzio and now lives in Italy, set out to solve the mystery.
Well, I was very moved by the fact that he was this person who had such a great affection for his father, who he'd never seen.
Through his Veterans Association, he traced these records. They show that on the 18th of February 1944, there was a German attack on Lieutenant Waters' Z Company. Nearly an hour later, the enemy was all around. 20 minutes after that, it reports, Lieutenant Waters, his name misspelt, was killed. With old maps, Harry's been able to tell Roger Waters exactly where his father fell.
Roger, until he knows where his father was killed, the war goes on. Now, of course, it's possible for him to say the war is now finished. I know where he was killed, and I can go there and lay a wreath or whatever at this spot.
Speaking in New York, Roger Waters said, "I think it's extraordinary. I learnt that there's a possibility that I may be able to visit the spot where my father died. I am moved to tears by that." Early this year, he played a musical tribute to Anzio's war dead. He will now be returning to find a personal closure that has waited nearly 70 years. Paul Davis, ITV News.
Roger Waters remembering the father who died in Italy. And that is tonight's ITV News. And finally, the wartime death of his soldier father haunted the lyrics and inspired the music of the Pink Floyd singer Roger Waters. He was just a baby when his father died 70 years ago today. So on that anniversary, and thanks to the research of a Second World War veteran, Roger Waters returned to the scene of the Battle of Anzio in Italy. And there, as Emma Murphy reports, unveiled a memorial to the father he never knew.
After 70 years, Roger Waters can finally honour his father in the place where he died. And for that, the old rocker has an old soldier to thank. Harry Schindler survived the war and vowed to find the resting places of those who did not. He's 93 now and still searching. Today in the town of Aprilia, near the beaches of Anzio, Waters, Harry Schindler and a community who understand the dreadfulness of war unveiled a memorial to Lieutenant Eric Waters and the thousands of others who died.
Certainly there's some kind of a feeling of closure. Today was extremely moving. You know, it is the 70th anniversary of my father's death.
That death left behind a wife and 2 children. Roger was only 5 months old and would go on to be one of the world's most famous musicians.
Price of a few hundred ordinary lives.
Much of his music with Pink Floyd referred to his father's death in Italy and revealed his sadness at never knowing exactly how and where he perished. He finally has those answers thanks to Harry Schindler, who used military archive to discover the Royal Fusilier died in Aprilia at 11:30 on February the 18th, 1944.
He's been a shining light to me all my life, my father, that is. And now Harry Schindler will be one too, for the rest of my life, because he's such a great man.
So what does that man make of it himself?
Mr. Schindler, what does it mean to you today to have been able to answer all these questions that Roger Waters had?
It's very important, because it's part of the process of remembering what happened here and never forgetting what happened here and why it happened, you know, for freedom on our island in England. That's why we're here.
And that's why it matters that in this small town in Italy, there now stands a memorial to Eric Waters and his fallen comrades. Emma Murphy, ITV News, Aprilia.
Remembering the Battle of Anzio. And that is tonight's ITV News at 10.
The national weather is next, then the news from your part of the UK. But from the two of us, good night and thank you for watching.
Good night.